Good evening, everybody. How you doing? It's me, Mitch, and I'm back. Get it? I'm back. I try to make this as entertaining as I can for you guys, maybe a little corny sometimes. Good to see you. I'm assuming everybody can hear me. If you can't or there's some problem, please let me know quickly. The meters are all bouncing around. Everything looks good, so I guess it's working. Look, we got a nice little crowd starting out here right off the bat. 61 people. Sounds good here. Says Firefly. Thank you. Thank you very much. 5x5, says Tom. Well, it's been an interesting day, guys. That little video that I made this morning kind of took off. I don't know. I honestly think people just, when they think something may be wrong, they just want to see what it is. I really wanted people to see that message. I tried not to make it clickbaity, but I tried to make it tempting enough to say what in the world happened to Mitch. Sorry if it seemed a little clickbaity, but I wanted you to see that, and I wanted you to hear that, because it's important. It's important to us. It's important to our whole community. There are days that I feel like I'm fighting a revolution against an evil and oppressive regime, and there's no other way to feel that way. We know that we're right. Doesn't usually mean anything, and just because we know we're right doesn't mean that we are right, except that everything seems to point to the fact that we are right. And the more we do this, the more right we sound, and the more right we look and feel. And then when we look around at everybody that thinks that we're wrong, they're all going in the opposite direction. But they think that they're right. And if you've ever seen bighorn sheep battling it out, that's what we're like on everything. I talk about the fact that we're so divided on virtually everything. It's that division, that us against them, that fuels the controversy, that opens the doors for all the propaganda. So the politicians and in politics, they fuel the division. They want everybody to take sides. And it's simply a matter of who promises you more shit. I'm going to vote for the guy that gives me the most shit. That's usually what it comes down to. We are animals after all, and our number one priority has to be ourselves and our well-being and survival. But we are fighting. It seems like we're fighting. We're fighting a war. And it seems like they're just etching away at us little by little, like they do in politics. And I know we're divisive in politics because of the remarks that I was getting today. And I don't like politics on this channel, but I'm not going to stop you when you make a point about how divided we are and how we're losing our freedoms and all of that stuff. I, of course, am on one political side and never made any bones about which side that is. And interestingly enough, and I guess you have to talk about politics every once in a while, interestingly enough, it seems that all the things that we're opposed to in nutrition seem to come from the same side of the, quote, aisle as all the stuff we're opposed to in politics. And judging by the wealth of comments that went a little political today, it's not hard to determine which side most carnivores are on. Why is that? Why is that? What do carnivores and that particular side, which I'm not mentioning any names here, that particular side of the political spectrum have in common? What is it? Is it that we're not woke? That you won't find us protesting, marching out there with signs? That you won't find us trying to virtually save everything from the trees to the whales to the animals? What is it? What is it? Is it just a more realistic way of thinking? And I think that's what it is. I think that our side, and I say that unashamedly, maybe are more realists, less easily manipulated by those who would use us as what they call useful idiots to do their bidding and create their mayhem to get them what it is that they want by inventing all these causes and then getting people to support these causes, go out, march in the streets, get physical, do damage. And for that reason, I'm going to say this once, and you know, if you want to unsubscribe from my channel, feel free, because I still believe in free speech. Because I did have one or two people actually told me today that since I actually allowed a political comment in the comments on that video today, that they were gone. They were gone. And they were right. They were right. They were gone. Narrow-minded thinking. I don't care what you are. I don't care if you're on the left, on the right, in the center. I don't care if you're a libertarian, a Unitarian. I don't even care if you're a vegetarian. I don't care if you're a planetarian. I don't care what the hell you are. You're a human being. You're entitled to your opinion, as long as you don't just make my life miserable about it. And the one thing that I do care about is what we talk about here, is the fact that you're trying to get healthy and you think that carnivore or keto or other low-carb diets will help you. And I don't care who you are or what you are. I want to help you just as badly. Just as badly. There are people on this planet that I love dearly. My sister is so far to the left that if this was a flat earth, she'd have fallen off already. But I love her dearly. We just agreed we don't talk politics. We can't. But that's okay. She's entitled. Her life has brought her to the place where she is, and my life has brought me where the place we are. And there's Cliff. Cliff, I can always count on you to chime in. He's on the right because we're right all the time. That's exactly the kind of comment that's going to get me to catch hell from somebody else. But it is interesting how we all tend to lean, not all of us, but most of us, I would say, tend to lean in that direction. And that's okay. But I look at politics and I look at the way the Alex Jones and the Steven Crowders and the really big guys that were in the media on that side, how they were treated, how they were all demonetized, how their channels were deleted, how they were canceled, how they were run off of the main social media platforms. such that Elon Musk had to buy Twitter. He had to buy it to bring it back to some semblance of fairness and free speech. And he's still fighting the uphill battle because of what leftover employees he still has from the old regime, who still have their ideologies and still want to try to figure out any way they can to use their, quote, community guidelines, which are just basically, that's another way of saying rules we made up to cancel you if we want to, and cancel these people. And most of the conservatives that were in the political spaces in regular media have gone to Rumble and other platforms like that have vowed no censorship. That's a double-edged sword too, because that means that the loonies don't get censored either. So I don't know. I guess if I had a choice between a free-for-all or a tightly controlled discussion by a fascist type of regime, I'll take the free-for-all any day. All right, enough about that. That was on my mind today from that video that I made. Hundreds of you have added your email address to that list on my website. I was gratified to see that. I'm going to start the newsletter. Give me a week to get the first one that goes out is basically just going to be kind of a test, just to see it. I'm going to send it out to everybody. And then I'm going to probably make a little short video that says, I just sent out a newsletter. If you think your name's on the list and you didn't get it, let me know. Or try to put your name on the list again. I want to make sure everybody who wants it does get it. I hope I never have to use it for what I talked about today. I hope that the tech people don't get so drunk with power that they forget all about what's legal, what's constitutional, and the fact that we do live in America, even though they may hate this country. I hope they never forget that. But y'all know Kent Carnivore. They have been deleting some of his videos because they claim that he has, in some manner, violated their community guidelines. For the life of me, I can't figure out what it could possibly be in community guidelines that makes telling people how to eat like your ancestors have always eaten and demonstrate how healthy you get doing so. How that could be considered dangerous is beyond me. And it's testimony to just how screwed up our thinking has gotten after 50, 60, 70 years of indoctrination about the healthy fruits and vegetables and healthy whole grains. So, on that happy note, folks, thanks for putting your email address on the website. I think that's great. I hadn't even looked at it. I put that when I made the website, I put that thing on there. I said, someday I'm going to do a newsletter. I'll just put a thing at the bottom for people to put their email address in there. I never looked. I never, ever once went back into the back end of my website, looked to see the submissions from that. And yesterday when I looked and there were 770 email addresses in there, it floored me. And I'm over 900 now. And I can export that to a giant spreadsheet. I then take the email addresses and upload them to Constant Contact, and it automatically integrates them into the particular mailing list that I've set up for you guys. And you can do them in a batch, so I don't have to sit there and type each individual email address. If you spelled your email address wrong, it may not work. It may bounce or it may get an error. So I'll tell you, you can look for that when I'm ready to send out the first test email with this thing and come up with some way of having you let me know that you did not get it and you thought you were subscribed. There were a lot of duplicates in there, so I'm sure a lot of you actually maybe forgot that you did or did it again because you hadn't gotten a newsletter, which is extremely understandable since I never sent one. So what do we got here? What do we got here? Let me start saying hi to some people. I have a few things I want to talk about tonight, but I want to interact with you guys. We have first one in, Cliff Medina. How you doing, Cliff? Good to see you. And right on his heels was Boyd Lamb. Good to see you. Julia Wigger. How you doing, Julia, from over there in Europe, in the UK? And I hope to be seeing you UK people on Saturday afternoon. And any of you guys that were here Saturday, we had a good time, and I really enjoyed that. And I'm going to do it 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon every week, with the option to opt out if a family thing comes up that I need to do on the weekends. We have the Furl Grandma here. How are you doing? And Jerry Bell is here, who always says hello, meet people. Michelle is here. Hi, Michelle. Good to see you. Then we have this clown. And then John Tocha, how you doing? Richard Williams. This is the same group every week right off the bat. This is great, guys. Appreciate it. Good evening from Copper Hill, Tennessee. Richard hopes you're all doing well. Here we have Mark. Eat meat, heal for life. How you doing, Mark? Good to see you. Tom in Tampa, Viking 442. And he says hi to Mark. And my buddy Jody from my old drone days, Drone Shot, says hi to me. And Jody always shows up. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Oscar Rodriguez is here. Hi, Oscar. How you doing? Hi, Mitch. Always a pleasure. Beautiful day here in Miami. Yeah, it finally stopped raining, I guess, down there. Julie Atkins is here. Hi, Julie. Sandra McDonald is here. Good to see you. Boo. I don't know what you booed about, but something I said maybe. Grumpy Cat, hello. And Josephine C., hi. How you doing, sweet? I didn't miss the start. Howdy, beautiful people, she says. Nadine Stachon. Hi, Carnivore Leader, how you doing? And Tina Schweikerath is here, and glad to be here. Tammy Pitarch, hi, Tammy. I'm in the Facebook group Keto and Carnivore Women 60 and Beyond. Just wanted to let you know you've been mentioned in the comments quite a bit lately. All good. Told them you were live. Great. Maybe some of them will show up here. Listen, I don't find any problem being, immersed smack in the middle of a whole group of women. It's okay with me. That's great. Senator McDonald, how you doing? Firefly is here, telling me it sounds good. Marcina, good night. Where are you from? It is night, I guess, isn't it? Yeah. And let's see who else I didn't say hi to. Beverly, how you doing? And Barbara Castillo, I was watching episode, very important message, had to resubscribe. Yeah, I had a couple of people basically told me that, and I can see why they'd think that way, that we really have no proof that they're doing anything a little underhanded to slow us down. There's too many things happen to too many people, coincidentally, subtle things, little things. And one of them happened to me last night. Last night, I was paying attention to my analytics. And it tells me how many subscribers I have. And all day long, my subscriber count was going up little by little, like it normally does. Also, on each video that I post, if I lost or gained subscribers on that particular video, it tells me how many. When I see my subscriber count go over a century mark, like yesterday, it went over 31,300. And I noticed it was 31,300. And within the next 2 to 3 hours, it went up to 309. I said, okay, that's about right. That's about right. It's what I normally get. It climbs every day steadily, not hugely fast, certainly not fast enough to get me in the 100,000 subscriber category anywhere within the next God knows how many years. But it still climbs because people find me and they go and they watch some of my older videos, and some of them actually see some action, so YouTube starts recommending them a little bit, but nothing dramatic, nothing like a young hot girl in a bikini might get, with tens of thousands of views an hour. I'm an ugly old guy. What can I tell you? Nobody, I have to go on my charm and wit, I suppose. It's been the story of my life. So I'm up to 31,309 at about 7:30, 8 o'clock last night. And I don't constantly watch it, but half an hour later, I look back and I was at 31,304. Lost 5 subscribers. My first thought was, I guess nobody liked that Monday morning rant that I put out. And everybody seemed to like it. I thought it was pretty funny myself, but that's just me. So I went and looked at that video, and that video said I'd lost 1 subscriber on that video. So somebody didn't like it. But what happened to the other 4? And then about 15 minutes later, I go back and look, and I'm down to 301. I'm down 8 subscribers within about 40 minutes. And it stayed right there. When I went to bed, it was still 31,301. When I got up this morning, it was 31,320 something. So I gained subscribers overnight, and I always do. I always gain 20 or so subscribers overnight from the other side of the world. This isn't the first time this has happened to me, and it happens to a lot of people. And you couple that with the fact that at least a couple times a week I get a comment, and and I know I don't get a comment every time it happens. So if I'm getting a couple comments a week, this is probably happening way more often than I'd want to think. I get a comment from somebody. I went and looked. I was subscribed, but now I'm not. So I resubscribed. And I don't know if that's just our niche, if that's any particular niche on somebody's hit list over there. And I know ours is definitely on it. I don't know. Can you prove it? No, it's too tiny and too subtle. The reason my channel keeps growing is because I manage to gain more than they can take away if they're taking it away. And if I'm really losing them, that's fine too. That's fine too. Tammy has a question here. Got my attention with the big red box. Said, do you eat lamb? I love loin chops, also lamb burger. No, Tammy, I don't ever eat lamb. I never really acquired a taste for it. When I was a kid, my mom used to make lamb chops. I was never crazy about them. It was too tiny amount of meat for all the work that was involved, mess that was involved. So I'm not a lamb person, and we're all like that. We eat what we like, and what we don't like, we stay away from. Hey, Rosie's here. Hi, Rosie. How you doing? Let me continue back on the chat. So yeah, even though some people think maybe we're being a little paranoid about it, I don't know. If you go back and look at the way this channel grew when I first started, like crazy, it wasn't nearly, in my estimation, as good, or the videos weren't nearly as good as they are today. It grew like crazy. I was getting hundreds of thousands of impressions from YouTube. I don't get 1/10 of that now. And when you look at the big guys in our space, the Sean Bakers, the Ken Berries, when you look at the view counts on the newest stuff, it's not 1/10 of the number of views that they get. And the way that we get views from YouTube is for YouTube to push our videos to new people. Everybody's channel roughly gets 15 to 20% of their views from their subscribers and relies on the new introductions by YouTube to get most of the rest. It's switched now, whereas I can count on 1,000 or two views from people who know me, and if I do get a lot of views on a video, it's because something something made YouTube think that it was really interesting, so they pushed it out there. They do want people to watch these things anyway, so people can see the ads that they're getting paid for. We have 109 people here tonight, and I forgot to turn off the notifications on my phone. Let me do that right now. Okay. Homestead Howe is here, or was. Mitch, hey, look at you. Curry, how you doing? Are you still here? I can't imagine it's busy. I've been enjoying your videos since we did our video together. Been crazy busy filming this documentary, but would love to do a video again sometime. Isn't that nice, man? Isn't that nice? Thanks, Curry. I don't know if you're still in the chat, because that was earlier on. I'll send you an email. I'd love to do a video. I had a great time, man. We were I don't even know if he's still listening, but we were like brothers from another mother, you and me. We had so much in common, and except I'm quite a bit older than you, but we had so much in common and in our history, our life history. So yeah, sure. Thanks for stopping by, man, and I'll get in touch with you. Speaking of big time YouTubers, guys, you all know who Bags Packed Family is, I think. Do you know who that is? He's not going to be here tonight, but he always watches my videos and frequents my live streams, and we've kind of become pretty good buddies. And he has a channel, his channel Bags Packed Family. It's he and his wife and 3 kids, and they've been living in Indonesia for the last 9 years. And he and his wife are school teachers, and when school's out, they take the kids and they travel, and they go to Vietnam, they go to Thailand, and they have a travel videos. And his name is Jonathan, and you've probably seen him. He actually came on when I did my birthday live stream a few months ago and made an appearance. And he had told everybody that they were moving back to the States and that they were going to live in Alaska. I found out they previously lived in Alaska a long time ago for 8 years before they went over to Indonesia. CB Carmack says, when I mentioned you on Curry's Live the other day, he said he needed to catch up with you. Yeah, that's great. That's great. I will absolutely get in touch with Curry. I enjoyed it. I know that he's been so damn busy that I figure, well, he doesn't need me. He's got to get his movie finished. That's his priority. But That was great to see him here. At any rate, Jonathan is back in the States now, and he called me yesterday. Today, and what they're doing is they came to Florida. Now Jonathan's channel has 230,000 subscribers. I mean, and you'd never know it. He's the nicest, most humble, down-to-earth guy you'd ever want to get to know. But he's got a big YouTube channel, and they're going to give a shot at doing it full time. So they're going to be living in Alaska. So the plan was they're going to come to Florida, they're going to go to Key West, and they're going to basically do a travelogue driving across the USA and end up in Alaska. And he's going to be here tomorrow. And he's going to be filming, because they're basically, they have to be filming most of the time for their channel. That's what they do. But he's going to come visit me at my place tomorrow evening. And we're going to get to meet and talk about all things YouTube. We're going to record something together. I have no idea what it's going to be. It's not going to be a live stream, but we're going to record something. Not so much an interview, but a conversation, casual thing, and getting to know each other. And I'll be putting that out on my channel, and he'll be putting it out on his channel as well. So that's great, and I'm really looking forward. I'm looking forward to that. Today they were in Key West, and he kind of read his itinerary off to me. I said, "You got more energy than I do." But he's going to be a busy guy till they get to Alaska. At any rate, his channel name is Bags Packed Family, and he makes some really enjoyable videos if you like to see things, because some of these travel videos are, especially for somebody like me that doesn't travel anymore, are fascinating. Get to see stuff without having to go through all the work. So I'm looking forward, if Jonathan, if you're listening, or if you catch this in a replay, I can't wait to see you tomorrow night. And who else didn't I say hello to? We have Parody Bear. How you doing? I live in DR. I like DR. I don't know what that means. DR is the Dominican Republic, as far as I know. Steve Studley's here. How you doing? Good to see you, Steve. And one of my friends, Juan Manuel Mercy, he says, from Chile. Juan is always comes on from his Uber, driving his Uber down there in Chile, and joins us live on Thursday night. We don't have our heads buried. Frank Savely, how you doing, Frank? You guys are all busy talking to each other. You don't need me. I could probably just leave the room and you wouldn't even notice that I was gone. Who haven't I said hi to? Here's somebody named Hugo Novosadek. Common sense thinking. Okay, so we're still talking politics and all of that. And hi from Northern Virginia. G. King, how you doing? It was hot as Florida. Well, it's summertime, man. It's coming on the end of June. First day of summer is coming right up here. Can you imagine that? Dixie Scott is here. How you doing? Evening, everyone. My husband says his aches and pains are on the left. See, everything's political. Mirak, how you doing? Politics and religion and carnivore equals life. I suppose. Those are the controversy. People need controversy. If they can't find any, they'll invent some. Who else? Okay, I think what I'm going to do is kick off of this chat that got started early, where I could actually put you up on the screen. Here's somebody. Clint Starr, a conservatarian. I like that. I like that. Clever. Very good. How you doing, Clint? Good to see you. Nadine has a question. Mitch, on your homepage, you need to change your age now that you're 77. Yes. I didn't think about that. Where on my homepage is it? Hang on a second here. There's so much to do, so much detail. And what do? I'm so busy just answering comments. So what do? I say, I need another live stream. I need another job. I need a newsletter I need to do. I don't know. Oh, it says so. It's on the video. There's some places in the text where it says meet 76-year-old Mitch. Yeah, I see that. All right, I'll have to go in there. And change it. But the thumbnail on that video that was entitled "What Age is Too Old to Start," I'm going to leave that at 76 because that was the thumbnail. Well, I could change that too, I suppose. Thank you, Nadine. Thank you for pointing that out. Let me go over to the. I will show you this, but over here. Watch my camera go out of focus. Over here, in this chat here, I have a duplicate of this chat over here. See? But this one is in the streaming software, and this one comes from YouTube. If I want to highlight something, like make it show up on the screen like that, I have to click it on this chat over here. But this chat over here has 2 or 3 lines per entry, and I got to scroll like crazy to find anything, whereas this chat's much easier to read over here. So when I welcome people, I want to put their names up on the screen because people like to see their names, and so I use the one on the right. But later on in the stream, I try to get over to the left because that's where I can see the red things with my name, like where Tammy asked me if I eat lamb. So if you want to get my attention, type at Old Guy Carnivore and then your question, and it'll show up in red on my screen. I went over all this on Saturday. Rosie said that she watched Vinny today and heard him say that they wiped him out of everything. Vinny Tortorich is an interesting guy. His life story is incredible. He used to be a male model back, and he used to be a real Hollywood hot ticket when he was young. And his adventures in the world of keto go back to way back before keto was really keto. He has had cancer. But he's made these videos, and a lot of you may have seen the one called Fat, a documentary. He's personal friends with Gary Taubes, Nina Teicholz, all of the great people that investigated the fraud that are our dietary guidelines. He's incredibly knowledgeable, and he's been on radio. He's had a very successful podcast. He owns a company. What is it? NSNG. Have you ever heard of that? It's a trademark. It's NSNG. They make products under the name NSNG. And NSNG means no sugar, no grains. I won't even tell you how long it took me to find that out, because I went looking for it today, and I went over his whole website, and I couldn't find a reference to it. I finally found a reference to what NSNG means. And I guess if you know what it means, you don't realize that you haven't really explained what the acronym is. No sugar, no grains. At any rate, his name is Vinny Tortorich, and in the description of the video I put up today is his interview with Philip Ovadia, I Fix Hearts, and it's a tremendous video. And not only is it entertaining and fascinating because of his story, but there's so much information about the shenanigans that are going on that are trying to put anybody that's trying to fix this out of business. Kind of like good old Ansel Keys did to good old John Yudkin. And I don't know if those names or that story comes right to the forefront of your mind, but if you don't know who Ansel Keys is yet, there's a name you should have burned into your memory. He's the guy pretty much whose fault most of this is. He's the diet hard hypothesis guy. He's the saturated fat is bad guy. He's the cholesterol is the whole problem guy. John Yudkin was a doctor in England. John Yudkin wrote a book about the fact that sugar was the whole problem, not fat. John Yudkin was right. We know that. Ansel Keys was a scheming politician, power-hungry, narcissistic, a-hole, bully. He damn near destroyed Yudkin's life and career, like politicians do today, to one particular orange guy that we all know of. The dirty tricks that they're playing trying to get him. They don't even go after criminals that hard. But this is what politics are, and this is the kind of a guy that Ansel Keys was, and he got himself into the government, right up to the influential places that were on the committees that influenced and wrote the dietary guidelines that we all know and love today. He's the guy whose picture was on Time magazine as the savior of the human race because he discovered, with fraudulent studies, by the way, that cholesterol was the real villain, not sugar. This same cholesterol that has been a part of our physiology ever since the beginning of life on this planet and hasn't done any damage to anything. It only helps build things. But that cholesterol all of a sudden decided to turn into the bad guy and start killing us. None of that makes any sense. I can't see how it made sense to them then. It certainly doesn't make sense now. But this is what we got. This is what we have to live with, and it's everywhere. And if you don't think it's everywhere, just watch a movie. Watch a movie. I took a picture right off the TV screen yesterday. I'm going to show it to you right from my cell phone here, if I can find it. I think I can find it. It's the kind of shit I think about all the time. It's the oddball kind of stuff that you don't find anywhere but on my strange and unusual live stream. Here you go. This is a picture. I'm trying to remember what movie it was. I don't even remember the movie. I was watching something. It was on YouTube. And this picture, can you see it? It doesn't show up real good. Let me see if I get it. Nah, it's not good. That's not good. It shows it's a picture of a father and a daughter sitting at a breakfast table. Is it that why the hell is it blown out like that? It's a father and a daughter sitting at a breakfast table. Each one of them in front of them has a bowl of cereal and a glass of orange juice. And during their discussion, the young daughter is telling the father that she's going to help him and keep him from eating the bad bacon and sausage and greasy food and help him be healthy by having this bowl of cereal and this orange juice. And that had nothing to do with the story. It was, they just thought, I mean, I don't know whether Hollywood, whether somebody pays or the cereal manufacturers pay for product placement or how they get that shit into movies, but you see it all the time. Snide little comments. Somebody's eating bacon and eggs. Oh, yeah, you're going to have a heart attack. I mean, they have to say it. It's everywhere. It is our culture now, and it's absolutely wrong. Liberaca? CO2 is the new cholesterol. That's another thing. Oh, don't get me started on this climate stuff. But if you look into the real numbers about the carbon dioxide concentration, we're at about 400 parts per million right now. I don't know if you find this crap interesting. We ought to call this Mitch's shithouse of trivia, because that's kind of what goes on in my brain. Feel free to use that line if you like. I do that with people. When they come up with all this crazy stuff, I look at them and I say, you're a veritable shithouse of trivia. And I usually get a chuckle out of that. So feel free to use it, no charge. The concentrations of CO2 historically on this planet over the billions of years have run from close to zero before life of any kind existed to as high as 5,000 and 6,000 parts per million. I may be a little off on these numbers, but I think I'm pretty close. It's a big spread. The one number that's, I think, the most important number of all is the lower limit for CO2 that's necessary to support life. Because you need CO2 to support the ecosystem we have. You need CO2 for the plants to live. We need the plants to create the oxygen. And there's a balance. There's a symbiosis between plants and animals. The plants take in the CO2, let out the oxygen. The animals take in the oxygen and breathe out the CO2. We're all using the same chemicals to create energy in our bodies, in our cells. We're just reversing the process. The plants do it one way, the animals do it the other. You need oxygen in the atmosphere and you need CO2 in the atmosphere, or this whole system collapses and life as we know it goes extinct on this planet. The lower limit to support life is 150 parts per million. 150. Not too long ago, 20 or 30 years ago, we were down to about 200 parts per million and heading down. The Industrial Revolution came along and started putting some CO2 back in the atmosphere. The CO2 was being sequestered before that. It was chemically reacting with things in the soil, with things in the water, with rocks, with limestone, with all of these things that were taking this carbon dioxide out of the air and locking it up. And when we started the Industrial Revolution, we started freeing it again. And in the period of time since the Industrial Revolution started and now, we have managed to get that CO2 level up to about 400 parts per million. And again, I may be off by a little bit, but that's an approximation, around 400. life on this planet has prospered with CO2 levels 10 times that. There are those that say, had it not been for man's action and the Industrial Revolution and the freeing up of all that sequestered carbon, we'd all be extinct by now. The carbon would have fallen too low and life would have died. So while half the people, or 99% of the people, are out there saying how putting carbon dioxide back in the air is killing the planet, there are those with real scientific facts on their side that are showing that not only didn't putting all that carbon back in the air hurt anything, it saved life on this planet. Pick whatever side you want to be on. Pick whatever side you want to be on. I watched some stuff from this particular scientist that was involved in this research, and he was beside himself, like we're beside ourselves talking about how wrong their diet advice is, and he was basically beside himself talking about how absurd it is to think that we've killed the planet when we really actually saved the planet. And had we not done that, we wouldn't be here. Stacy 11 says, hey, old guy carnivore, I'm signing up just in case you get deleted from YouTube because I'm a true fan. Thank you so much. I don't expect to get deleted. I'm first of all, I'm a little guy anyway, but I am following the lead of the smart people, of the big guys, especially Ken Berry. I mean, this guy he's no fool. He's no fool whatsoever. He's a smart man. He may put on this country bumpkin act, but he's a smart guy. I admire him. Not only is he doing the things needed to protect his business by alternative places and methods to continue his channel without YouTube if necessary, like Steven Crowder did. And I don't know how many of you know who Steven Crowder is or know what he accomplished and what he did after what they did to him. But he's on Rumble now with a subscription-based show. He used to work with Glenn Beck, but they had a falling out. But Crowder is building his own, basically, network over there on Rumble. And still on YouTube, but they don't pay him. I think he uses YouTube to lure people to Rumble. But thank you. Yeah, Tom says plants breathe CO2. Exactly. And if they didn't have CO2 to breathe, we wouldn't have oxygen to breathe. It's a symbiotic relationship. And in case you don't know what symbiosis is, it means two things that need each other or they're both in trouble. Carnivore Odyssey. Merwin is here. Hiya, sweetie. You all know Merwin. Merwin, I need to give your channel. If you don't know Merwin over there in Australia, she's just cool as hell. I like Merwin, and we keep threatening to do something together, and we need to do it. She's busy, I'm busy, but we're going to do I don't know, not even an interview, just a joint bitch fest probably. And she's a tough one, too. She's not taking any crap from the people on her channel either with these comments. And I hope after Monday, so many, after I read some of those comments, which were not even, the ones I read to you were ones I considered the most humorous, not the most obnoxious. But how many of those we get, you would not believe. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't want to argue with anybody. I don't want to start these long discussions and debates because you can't you can't win. You can't debate. I don't debate. I don't debate anybody about anything. I don't. I'm done trying to prove I'm right. I think I'm right. If you don't think I'm right, fine. Doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me. Marilyn calls me Dad. Hello, Dad. Love you, she says. You too, sweetie. You too, sweetie. You meet some of the, I'm telling you, you meet some of the greatest people in this community. People who have good heads on their shoulders. Smart people. People with common sense. Something sorely lacking in our world. I'm going to have to stop talking non-stop while I catch up on the chat and read a little bit. That's the problem. Josephine Cease, oh my God, that would be fun. Mitch and Merwin. Oh, we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to do it. I don't know if you were around when I told everybody that I got Jonathan from Bags Packed Families actually coming to my house tomorrow evening. We're going to film a little something together while he's on his way through Florida on the way to Alaska. And right after that, I'll set up a little online chat with you and send you a link to it, and we'll get together. And maybe on, let's see, Friday, maybe on Thursday here, Thursday morning here, be Thursday evening for you. Let's kind of plan on that, and we'll see if we can make that happen. I'm just not busy enough, sweetie. I don't have enough to do, And we were talking about Ken, and I was saying that he is not only protecting his business, but he's also, with his farm, protecting his food supply and his life if the shit hits the fan. That's something most of us can't do, unfortunately. In the community where I live in, they would frown if I had sheep grazing in the backyard, unfortunately. So not everybody can have a farm. Would be great, but kudos to him. I admire the hell out of what he's doing, and he's sharing it with everybody so they can. And it is necessary. Everyone says, "Oh, good. I'm getting up earlier now that Hubs is working." Good. I'm glad to hear that. I gotta bet that makes it easier on you. Bob Marchillo, Mitch, you're right. Just like Maharishi, who was right about the climate change. Yes. Yeah. But any emotional issue, like destroying the planet, killing the whales, eating animals, anything that you can use to elicit an emotional response from somebody, gives you the power to manipulate their actions by manipulating their feelings. And these are people that maybe don't have the IQ or don't have the brain power to put two and two together and say, something about this just doesn't make sense to me. Why am I marching with this sign here and nobody's paying me for it? Do I really believe in this that much? But they get guilted into it. Nadine says, Mitch, your HOA probably has a rule about that. You think? My God, there is, yeah. I live in a retirement community, so of course, and it's modular homes. That's trailer park for you sophisticated people. So it's not one of these gated communities with $1 million homes and things like that. It's average people, average retired people. It's a nice community. It's got beautiful common areas of swimming pools, and you all saw the little miniature golf course. I mean, but it's not for me. I'm not a miniature golfer. I'm not a pickleball player, and I don't go to parties and eat and drink 24/7. But that's what they do here. But yeah, they have a lot of rules, and it keeps it quiet, and I like that. I don't want 7 barking dogs out on a leash behind my house all day, every day. I'm sorry. I moved in here because of the rules, so I'm the last guy to bitch about them. But they do have one rule that was brought about by that side of the politics that we always talk about, and that is the service animal and the comfort animal. And for those of you who have gotten on an airplane with some young girl carrying some little dog in her lap, claiming that she's allowed to do it because it's a comfort animal and there's a law that protects her and allows her to carry it because her life she needs it for medical reasons. Her comfort dog, her companion animal. I need this companion. Well, they have to, because they're government mandated now. They have to have those things. Whenever there's a rule like that, there is a line of people 5 miles long ready to game it. So all of a sudden, we had a rule when I moved into this community that you couldn't have a dog over 25 pounds. The whole idea was have these little dogs that stay in the house all the time so they don't go outside and go yip, yip, yip all day long and just annoy everybody and keep them awake at night. And I like that. I don't have anything against dogs, but I don't need them outside my house making noise all day long. So all of a sudden, these pit bulls start showing up. People start coming in here with these, 120-pound pit bulls and Great Danes. Somebody moved in right across the street from me with a Great Dane that stood 6 foot tall on 4 legs. Companion dogs. Well, the owners of the property tried to get them to get rid of the dog, and they got stopped cold in their tracks by these laws. And these people were gaming the system. Emotional support animals, exactly, Dixie. So I wrote a letter and told them that I intend, and I'm just giving them notice so they can be ready, that I am going to get an emotional support rhinoceros. I'm going to dig a swimming pool-sized hole behind my house, fill it with water, so that my emotional support rhinoceros, well, needless to say, I didn't get real far with that, but I made my point at least. And to this day, I still think that how much fun would that be to have an emotional support rhinoceros and have nobody have the right to tell you had to get rid of it. I don't know what the hell I'd feed the thing. Maybe I could feed the thing all the other neighbors' little yippy dogs. Yeah, I solved 2 problems in one. I've seen people taking their dogs and cats. People take their dogs into restaurants. When I had my restaurant in Orlando, that was the big thing. I was in the city of Winter Park. They passed an ordinance requiring restaurants to allow people to bring their dogs into the restaurants. Again, I don't need to tell you which side of the political aisle these people were on, who felt that they had the right to ruin everybody else's experience, dining experience, by bringing their dogs into the restaurant. But the law said we couldn't stop them. And that's the people these are the same people that bring their screaming babies into fine dining restaurants. And while you're trying to go out with your wife and have an elegant dinner to celebrate your anniversary, right next to you is some person changing the diaper on their baby. That happened to me. actually happened to me in a very expensive restaurant on my anniversary years ago. They sat, a young couple with two babies next to us, and the whole time they were fooling with these babies. The babies were crying, and they were changing their diapers right out there. They couldn't even take the kid to the ladies' room to change the diaper. People are horrible and obnoxious, most of them, and they're getting worse. They have no savoir-faire anymore. No finesse. It's crazy. It's crazy. QB Carmack, I saw a story where someone had an emotional support alligator. No joke. Yeah, you think that I would doubt that for any reason? I don't know how we're going to turn this all around. We have collectively, the human race has collectively lost its mind, and I propose that it didn't just happen. It's all caused by a slow poisoning of the human race and a lack of nutrition, because those of us that are eating the right foods haven't lost our minds yet. We're actually regaining our minds. I'm an old man. I look at myself. That's why I do this. I do this as a in your face to anybody that just doesn't believe this. I say, how do you explain me? How do you explain me at my age, in the shape I'm in, and how clear and quick my mind has gotten again? I think I'm sharper now than I ever was in my whole life. I think I'm better nourished now. I don't know about you, and I don't want to be, I'm not doing this to get any kind of compliments or praise or anything from you. But I've been doing this carnivore stuff, and before that, this drone stuff on YouTube for 6 years. I spent a lot of time looking at myself in these little windows that are on my screens, staring at what I look like and what's being broadcast. Being broadcast. Let me finish this. I've gone back and looked at some of my earlier live streams from when I first started the carnivore YouTubes, but I had been on carnivore for a year already. But I went back to some of the drone live streams and looked at me. I might have been 5 years younger. I looked 10 years older. My skin was horrible. My complexion was horrible. My face was big and round a lot of times as I went up and down in weight. And I look at myself now, and I look at my skin, and I look at my complexion and how clear it is, and how soft my skin has gotten on my face. And I'm 77 years old. And that friggin' amazes me. It's something. It just doesn't. Now, I still have wrinkles, and I still have my turkey neck, and that stuff's not going to go away because I am getting older. But when I look at the overall condition of my skin and my hands, they don't look like 77 years old. They don't look like my grandparents' hands looked. This is what this does for us. And when I go out into my community and I look at these people who are 15 years younger than me, and they look like they could be my parents, it's scary. It's scary. And that's what I want to do. I want to tell people, I said, don't believe what I say. Look at me. And look at this picture. This is what it used to be. I got one of those pictures here somewhere. That's the problem. I don't have this stuff when I do these live streams, I don't have this stuff right at hand. Right at hand. Here, I think this. Let me see if this one will show it. Now, one thing that I will say is when I was heavier, you didn't see the wrinkles. You didn't see the wrinkles as much because your face is filled out more. But this picture here, that was taken about 4 years ago. The one of me on the right. Do I look like the same guy even? I don't know. I showed this picture to somebody. Said, "Well, you look older on the left." Well, I may look a little older because I'm so much thinner. If I had all that fat in my face, yes, I would probably not have the wrinkles. But my complexion, and this was sitting in front of the same camera with the same background. That's why I picked this picture. It was during a live stream that I was doing. And I was probably 40 pounds heavier. It was before I hurt my head, before I had my brain surgery. At any rate, I thought that I think I look a lot healthier now. So you look better on the left for sure. I don't notice the wrinkle, I guess. Justin says, Just Jen says, you look better on the left for sure. Be proud. I am proud. I am proud. Why did it take us until we're older to find our health? Well, timing. It's just timing. Right place, wrong time. Right place, right time. You know, who knows? This Vinny Tortorich guy, he was talking about the fact that in 2007, when he started, there was no such thing as keto even back then. That was 15 years ago, 16 years ago. There was, Atkins, and there was Lawrence Cordain, the paleo guy. And everybody thought that they were all kooks. They were all absolutely losing their minds, and it's gotten worse. And it just took that much time. Took that much time for the word to get out, for the logic of it to get out, for the research to get done, for people to uncover the fraud, which they're still doing, especially the fraud that was involved in all of those original so-called studies that especially the ones where they paid off these Harvard professors. The sugar companies actually paid them off. And a couple years ago, they actually got copies of the checks they paid them to make the results of the study come out to show that fat was the bad guy and sugar was the good guy when the studies actually showed the opposite. And then, of course, everybody ran with those studies, and they became part of the public knowledge, which everybody knows. I had a couple of little announcements I wanted to make. Y'all remember that I am going to do a live stream on Saturday now. Y'all come 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday for those of you like me who have no life. I joke about that, but this is my life now. And it's going to be quite a busy life too. But if you can't make it Saturday, I'll understand. A lot of people, actually have things to do outside, out of the house, activities and things. Me, not so much. So I can do this. And the people in Europe, it'll be evening for them instead of the middle of the night. And got a nice turnout of Europeans here last Saturday. We all had a great time. So if you can come on Saturday 3, I'd love to see a big crowd in there. It's a great time. It's a great time. And when you think about it, when we do things here on the East Coast, the entire world is pretty well okay to watch it. Anybody that's in the Pacific Rim or Australia is 12 hours difference. So if it's evening here, it's morning there. It's mid-morning for them. That's okay. It's not the middle of the night. The only place on the planet where it's the middle of the night for us here when it's evening in the States is Europe, maybe the Middle East. That's it. That's it. And our poor friends in Europe just get left out of everything that we do at night here in the States. Everything we do in the evening. They're sleeping. They're sleeping. So Saturday, I'm going to try to do it regularly. And to tell you the truth, guys, I don't know whether I enjoy these live streams. These live streams are the highlight of my little YouTube thing here. I love it. I love it. I think I covered most of this. Oh, one thing I wanted to tell you that I really like. Got a lot of and this is great. I got a lot of comments from you telling me that wow, some of you guys have bought me coffees tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. I have my notifications turned off. I didn't notice. That was very nice of you. What was I going to say? I got sidetracked by somebody's generosity. Stacy, I'd like to join you live. I'm not a troll. I'm not going to do that tonight, Stacy, but I'm going to do it on Saturday. So if you're around, come in and I'll do that. It's getting a little late right now to actually start that. And I want to catch up on the chat and see what you guys are saying. I've been, as usual, just running at the mouth here. Hey, everybody, can't chat right now, but I'm listening. Oaktown girl, how you doing? I've never handled one. Mitch, you look very good now. Oh, thank you. You guys are talking to each other. Way less dry eye on carnivore. Do you know that, Chipmunk Mitch? Thanks, Tom. Appreciate that. You know that my eye floaters went away and my eye prescription is actually improving. It's improving. I'm at a point where I'm ready to go get new glasses now because when I try to read, I'm watching YouTube on the TV, I'm trying to read what it says, to decide which video to watch. And now, sometimes I have to actually take my glasses off to be able to read it. It's crazy. But I used to have a bunch of eye floaters. I had a little bunch of friends that came to visit me. They're gone. They're gone. It's also been said by many eye doctors, including this Dr. Lisa Weidman, if you're ever concerned about macular degeneration or any eye doctor tells you that you've got macular degeneration and you're going to go blind, start watching Lisa Weidman, Weidemann or M-A-N. I think she's an ophthalmologist and carnivore one, and she's having miracles. Her patients are having reversals and aren't going blind. And how nice is that? Wouldn't it be nice to be 100 years old and still have your eyesight, your teeth, and your feet? Something that most people, if they even managed to live to 100, couldn't accomplish these days. Just Jen says we don't need to convince anyone, just lead by example. The right ones will take notice. That's true. It's also, you can't convince anyone. People are too brainwashed. This has become a religion, this diet. This is dogma now. This is, everybody knows. Scariest two words that that humans ever put together. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. When somebody says that, I immediately know that they're going to come out with something that's wrong. Just because we were alive and functioning. Yes, just Jen, eat meat. We have Mark talking to Tom. Florida, Florida. Kathy, how you doing? Good to see you. Talking about your daughter's ferret. Okay. Mark says I should start doing commercials for skincare products. No, I'm not pretty enough. Sorry. Maybe if I had long flowing hair, or my first name was Fabio. Can you imagine going through life being a man with a name like Fabio? I say you're not old until you're after 85, where it gets harder to be self-sufficient. No shame in aging. Mitochondria, nobody's fault. I don't think you have to fall apart at 85. We're going to see. We're going to see. Hopefully, I'm going to be around for that journey, and I'm going to let you guys come along with me. So we'll see. But there are many, 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 many of you that are just right there with me too. Right there with me. Oh, we're back to the Just Jen loves my shirt. This is a new shirt. My daughter bought me this last year, and I never wore it. And today's the first day that I wore it, and I never wore it because it has little, if you can see in the flower here, little specks of green. And I didn't think I could wear it on a live stream. And that may sound like a really strange thing to you, but let me show you why. You see all this stuff behind me? The wall, the plant, the thing on the wall with the old guy face. The monkey, see the monkey? I want to show you what that is. That's a green screen. And what the computer does, wherever it detects that color of green, and you've seen weathermen on TV to do this as well when they're standing in front of that weather map. They don't do it as often because they've all got big TV screens up there now, but they used to have to do it with a green screen. And the broadcast equipment, in our case the computer, will take wherever it's green and make that green transparent. So, and they call that chroma key, meaning it keys to a particular color. When I turn the chroma key on, wherever it's green becomes transparent, and whatever the computer is showing, because this wall is not a real wall, of course, it's a graphic of a wall. These trees moving in the background are a video that I shot outside my house one day that are a video of the sky and some trees blowing. And it's on about a 5-minute loop, and it just goes round and round back there. And then I just put the open door in front of it, and I have my studio. The color green in this shirt must be just a little different than the color of that screen, because the chroma key is set to that color green. I had a shirt that had big green leaves on it once. And when I wore it in this studio setting, those big green leaves became transparent, and you saw the wall and everything through it. It was like I had holes in me. And sometimes when I take something that is green and hold it up, strange things, this is the wrong shade of green, but strange things happen. And you can see, and you end up seeing the background through it. I used to, I don't know if you find this stuff interesting, but I can sum up everything in carnivore with 2 words: eat meat, and the rest of the time I have to try to entertain you. I used to, and I don't know what I did with it. I actually used to have a piece of that same green color cloth. I went looking for it and I couldn't find it. And what I used to do with this chair was I would drape that green cloth over the back of the chair and sit down, and this chair would just disappear. You'd see me sitting, you'd see my body, but you wouldn't see a chair behind me because it was green. And that's how they make movies. You'll see in these movies, if you ever watch these Hollywood, how we made the Titanic or how we shot this, you'll see that so much of what they do is shot in front of green screens. They dress people up in green costumes. And if they're wearing a green costume and they have a chroma key set up, these people can grab onto something and run around all over the place. And it looks like this thing is floating and flying all by itself because the people end up becoming invisible because the color of their clothes or whatever they're wearing is greened out. And that's what we're doing here this way. So all that to tell you why I almost didn't think I waited so long to wear the shirt. And I said, I'm going to try it tonight. And I don't see any of the green actually looking like it's vibrating or trying to get keyed on. But that's good because I like this shirt. I'm going to wear it more often. Where was I? Let's go down to the bottom of the chat. And Tom says, Majestic Psychology is a question 4 post above. Majestic Psychology. Hi, Mitch. Do you feel like we need to take any supplements while on carnivore, like iodine? Would like your personal opinion on it. I see some who don't take anything and some do. I've talked about that a lot. I take a drop of iodine in my coffee. Maybe not every day, but at least every other day. 1 drop. 1,500 micrograms of the Lugol's 2%. It's what Ken Berry takes, and it's on my website on the links page. Exactly what I use. You buy 1 little bottle of that, lasts you the rest of your life. But I do take a drop of iodine because our soils are deficient in iodine now. They've been raped. And that's the reason why we might need supplements. Cavemen didn't need supplements. It wasn't until recent times when we started modern agriculture and monocropping and came up with all these chemical sprays and all this other newfangled stuff that we pretty much have destroyed the natural balance of our soils. We're not letting the cows crap on our soil anymore. All that stuff is part of the cycle of what made this sustainable. And if it's not in the soil, it's not going to be in the grass. If there's no iodine in the soil, then the grass won't have the iodine in it. And the cow will come along and eat the grass with no iodine, and there won't be any iodine in the meat. And then you come along and eat the cow, and then there's no iodine in you. And for that reason, since iodine is incredibly important, I think a drop of iodine is good today, good every day. And the same thing is true for the other electrolytes, which are minerals, which used to be found in abundance in the soil: potassium, magnesium, sodium, and calcium to some extent. Some people don't need to take. If you're eating beef that's been pasture raised in sustainable farmlands where the cows are crapping all over the field and that land hadn't been raped and it's pretty close to the way the land was 500 years ago, and you know exactly where all that stuff, then you probably wouldn't need to take it. Couple that with the fact that we store in our bodies a lot of this stuff, and we may be running on our own supplies of it. And we may think we're doing good, but a year down the road, we may run out of it and then start to have trouble. Vitamin B12. I've heard, not a doctor, but I've heard that the average human can store 3, 4, maybe even 5 years worth of B12, which I think explains why that's how long it takes for a raw vegan person to finally crash and burn. So somebody starts a vegan diet, they've got enough B12 to carry them for a few years, but they can't keep it up for more than that. So what you hear is a story that keeps repeating itself, and that is, I started to be a vegan, I felt great. Well, of course you felt great. You cut out all the processed foods, you cut out half the poisons, you stopped eating seed oils, maybe you weren't eating animal products, but at least you were eating whole foods, and you were supplementing what you thought was going to be, what you thought you needed. But 4 years in, you ran out of B12, and then you die. And then you get deathly ill and your teeth fall out, and all kinds of other horrible things happen. We've all seen these vegans that look like they're on death's door. And so many of them start eating meat again, become carnivores, get healthy, and then go on to make videos about, I used to be a vegan and now I'm a carnivore. I see a ton of those kind of videos. I'm still looking for the videos that say, I used to be a carnivore and now I'm a vegan. The carnivores are not near death's door. Don't need to change. I just look for the obvious out there. Sometimes that's where reality lies. You know, it either makes sense or it doesn't. It's either obvious or it isn't. Thank you, my friend. Keaton Carnivore. How do you pay and feel about, I don't know what that word is, about cannabis and carnivore? I have no opinion on that. No opinion. I smoke cigars, so I can't say that, I'm not one of these militant anti-smokers. I know that cannabis in some people just causes them to have ferocious appetite. In that case, it might not be good, but I have no idea how it might affect you. I have no idea chemically. I know that they're about to, sorry, autocorrect. Scary, yeah. Of the lady rolls one. Sorry, autocorrect. That's okay. How do I feel about carnivore? I don't say don't do it. I don't say do it. I have no opinion one way or the other. I don't think anybody has ever said that it's not carnivore. My motto fits right in with my motto. You all know what my motto is. It's better to smoke plants than to eat them. Those are words to live by, guys. I practice that every day. If it hurts me, it'll hurt me. Life is too short, no matter what you do. I'm always reminded, and I wish I could find it. I keep looking in old boxes and things for a cozy soft drink cozy I used to have. You put soda cans in. Well, I don't buy anything comes in a can anymore, but my cozy said, eat right, stay fit, die anyway. Honest to God. Truer words were never spoken. get, get run over by a bus. Win the lottery, and then the next day you get run over by a bus. Yeah, that'd be the story of my life. Anyway, thank you so much for that super chat or super sticker, my friend. I appreciate it, and feel free. I have a funny story about the one time in my life that I smoked pot. It's a true story. I never smoked pot. I smoked a pipe way back when. I started smoking cigars. I never smoked cigarettes. Never inhaled anything. Always just puffed on a pipe or puffed on cigars. I was a scuba diver. Big time. Way back in the 70s. I used to love to go diving, and I was affiliated with a dive shop in St. Petersburg, Florida. And we went on many of these dive trips, usually in Florida, sometime down to the Keys, sometime we do wreck dives off West Palm Beach, because you don't have to go, when you're on the east coast of Florida, the southeast coast of Florida, a lot of people don't know this, the Gulf Stream comes really close in to the shore. And you don't have to go out very far before you're in 100 feet of water. On the Gulf side, in the Gulf of Mexico, you got to go out 40 miles to find 30 or 40 feet of water. It's very shallow compared to the ocean. But because the Gulf Stream cuts right up next to the coast of Florida, it's deep, fast. And there's a lot of wrecks, shipwrecks there, and a lot of them make great dive sites. So a whole bunch of us from this dive shop in St. Petersburg decided they had arranged a trip, and they arranged the hotel and all this stuff, and it was all guys, it was all men. And it took us over on a really nice bus, one of these luxurious type buses, and it was about a 3-hour bus ride from St. Pete over to West Palm Beach, and we got there and we got all the dive gear off the bus, and we all got into our hotel rooms for the night, and about 6 o'clock in the evening, and they had doubled us up in the rooms. They were all twin rooms, and there was 2 guys in a room, you know. I don't like to do that, but, you know, I was in the Army. I was used to it. So there was 2 guys in the room. And we got there, and everybody had arranged at about 7 or 7:30. We were all going to meet out in the parking lot, and we were going to go out to find a nice restaurant and have us some dinner. And then tomorrow morning, we're going diving. My roommate turned out to be a doctor about my age who was an anesthesiologist. And we get into the room, and we start to unpack, and next thing I look over, he's rolling himself a joint. And I said, what you got? Oh, he says, I got some really, and I know everybody says good shit, but that's exactly what he said. This is some really good shit. You want one? I said, I smoke cigars. I don't smoke this. He says, well, this is, you know, you can't pass, you got to try this. I said, I've never, and this is true. This isn't like Bill Clinton. I never inhaled. This was true. I never had an opportunity to smoke pot, and I had no idea what I was supposed to do, and I never inhaled anything up until then. Not even never smoked a cigarette. And that was thanks to my mother. That's another story. I'll tell you that another time. My mother was a smart woman. So he lights it. He rolls it up. He starts smoking on it. And he says, come on, you got it. He says, if you've never smoked pot, you need to try this. And this, I figured, well, this guy's a doctor. Not only a doctor, but an anesthesiologist. And he's doing it. So obviously it can't hurt me. I didn't know what I know today about doctors. I said, okay. I said, from what I understand, you just suck it, you inhale it and hold it as long as you can and let it out. He says, yeah. So I take this thing and I damn near coughed up a lung, but I managed to hold it down for a while. And I let it out. Nothing. I didn't know what to expect anyway, but nothing. So I said to him, I don't feel anything. Give it a minute, he said. Okay. Gave it a minute. Still nothing. Do it again. Nothing. Give it a minute, he said. 2 minutes later, this is God's honest truth. I'm on the floor. I'm laughing. I'm rolling and laughing so hard. Tears are coming out of my eyes. I couldn't stand up. I was wasted. I've never been that out of it in my entire life. They came knocking on our door to go to dinner. 2 of them had to get me, one under each arm, and carry me out, dragging my feet to dinner. I stayed that way for hours. I have never, ever been that out of it in my life, and I will never, ever do that again. But I can see the allure for some people who just want to get happy. I was hysterical the whole time. I was laughing like a little kid and everything. It was the funniest thing that ever happened to me, and I'll never forget it. But I never did it again either. So I don't know if I'm the right guy or the wrong guy to ask about whether to smoke pot and have carnivore, but I'll leave that one. I'll leave that one up to you. There's pros and cons smoking weed. Isn't that true about everything in life? Oh, yeah. Now you're talking about sardines up there. Wow. Well, I think I said everything I wanted to say tonight. Maybe too much. I don't know. Pardon me. Did I miss any questions? That somebody said, "How did you get hurt, Firefly?" Are you talking about me or somebody else in the chat when I said before I hurt myself? I worked out too hard, and if you're talking to me, I worked out about 2.5 years ago. I was on keto. I decided I was going back to the gym. I started working out, and I overdid it. I just worked out way too hard. And then to make matters worse, I went and sat in a 170-degree sauna. Got talking to a guy, ended up sitting in there for 45 minutes. Got completely dehydrated and got very, very lightheaded. So I walked out of the sauna and I went back to my locker and I kind of laid down on a bench figuring, 5 minutes I'll be okay. Well, I wasn't. Next thing I knew, I woke up in the emergency room. I had passed out, hit my head on the bench, had a brain bleed, which over the next 6 or 7 weeks turned into a subdural hematoma, requiring me to have brain surgery and have my skull cut open over here. I don't know if you can see it. And it took me quite a while to recover from that, but that's just another one of life's adventures. But I did fully recover from it. Stupid. But isn't everything we do to ourselves stupid? Ernie enjoys listening to me. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate all you guys. I can't imagine, and I mean this from my heart, I can't imagine being somebody who does this on YouTube and has people that are in the community and following that are any nicer and smarter than you guys are. I just can't imagine it. I don't think it exists. So you have my admiration too. Fro Grandma says, Mitch, if I had any questions, I forgot them. Cool. Good. Good. That's just like smoking pot without having to buy pot. That's great. Question. Mark. I had asked earlier about drinking water with meals. Pros, cons, dangers. Well, I try not to for one reason. And that is the pH in our stomach. When you're eating meat, the acidity of your stomach is the key to digesting it. Your pH is very, very acidic because that's what it takes to tear down the proteins and into their base building blocks, which are amino acids. I'll give you a 5-minute deal, and then it'll be time to say goodnight. The 5-minute deal about proteins. Protein is a word we all use. We all throw it around. But very few people actually understand what a protein is and where it comes from. A protein is what they call peptide chain of amino acids that then kind of folds all up on itself and becomes an enzyme or one of the molecular machines that actually does work or joins with other proteins. But at the heart of all of that stuff are building blocks. And these building blocks are called amino acids. And that's what a protein is. It is a certain combination of the 20 different amino acids linked together in one long chain in a particular order and quantity that when it's finished allows it to fold itself all up on itself and become a molecular machine and do a job. That's why amino acids are so important. So at the heart of proper nutrition is getting enough of every single amino acid. Because when your cellular machinery is trying to build a protein and it doesn't have a particular amino acid, it can't build the protein, and that, my friend, is what malnourished actually means. We ran out of bricks. We can't finish the wall. That's what malnourished means. The protein is the end product. The amino acids are necessary to build the protein. Now, this is where genetics comes in. This peptide chain that will eventually become a long chain of amino acids has some or all of these 20 amino acids in some order, and some may have 2 of these and 3 of those and 1 of those and 1 of another one and then 2 more of a different one, and that whatever it is, it's finally, and it could have 10,000 of these amino acids in this one huge long chain that then folds itself up to become, let's say, a ribosome or ATP synthase or any of the other miraculous little machines that are in our cells and in our mitochondria that create energy or build more proteins or do all the work or make our muscles move or anything that basically is life. So we start with amino acids are the basis of our nutrition. And our bodies can make all, but I think it's 11 of them that we have to get from external sources. And they're called essential amino acids. And the only place we can get these essential amino acids, the ones that our body can't make, of the 20 that there are, is in our food, by eating them. We eat those essential amino acids in the form of protein that's built from those amino acids. And the first job of our digestive system is to take that protein and break it down into those amino acids again. So when we eat protein in our body, it doesn't stay protein. Our body doesn't do anything with the protein except tear it down and recycle it for its basic parts. We're like the jewelry guy on the corner that you bring him a pile of gold jewelry and the first thing he does is melt it all down, take out the stones, and break it down into its raw materials. That's what our body does. So eating protein it doesn't do anything. We don't use the protein. All we do with it in our stomach is break it down into amino acids, and that's what our stomach acid does. So back to your question, Mark. If you dilute your stomach acid with a big bunch of water while you're supposed to be digesting your food, your proteins aren't going to get broken down as efficiently, and they'll end up, instead of being broken down where they're supposed to, they'll go further down the line. They may not get broken down at all. You may end up crapping them out, all that great nutrition. So the school of thought that I believe in is don't drink with your meals when you're eating, certainly when you're eating protein, which should be every meal that we eat. So that's how I feel about it. I haven't heard the opposite side of that argument yet because I can't imagine an argument making any more sense. Now, you could have a little sip of water if you get thirsty, but to sit there with a big gulp of Coke, for example, or some huge drink, or even a huge bunch of water, when you know you're going to be trying to digest food, it's just going to not allow you to get the nutrition that's available in the food. You have to break this stuff down into its basic building materials, and then our body will use those amino acids in every cell, because all this stuff is all at a cellular level. Every cell in your body is its own individual little factory, living factory, makes its own energy in its own mitochondria, makes its own building materials, repairs itself with those building materials, its own cell walls. It's like an independent contractor and communicates with all the other cells in the rest of the body through hormones and nerves. But each cell is an autonomous living thing because it started out as an autonomous living thing. It started out pretty much before multicellular life came along. It started out as a single cell life. And our single cells are still pretty self-sufficient at staying alive. So that answers that question. That was a long answer, again, to a short question. But no, I think that drinking water is not good for that reason. But if you really want to be fascinated by physiology and the biochemistry of how life actually works, do a deep dive into all the different cellular pathways and how the genetic code is read from our DNA, sent up to outside the nucleus to the cytoplasm of the cell in something called messenger RNA, and we typed on that. How that messenger RNA is then taken up by a molecular machine, made of proteins called a ribosome, which goes one codon at a time, which is 3 genetic instructions, and actually makes the protein based on the code that was transcribed from a gene in your DNA to reproduce a particular protein that's needed. And all the materials that are used to produce that were broken down from the protein that you ate. But none of the protein that you ate in that form of the protein that you ate it is going to be used by your body. It's probably not going to make it past your stomach. And that's the cool part, is we are the ultimate recycling machine in nature. It is an amazing thing. Well, guys, it's almost 10 o'clock. Here we go. Went 2 hours of this again. How do I do it? I don't know where it all comes from. I must be channeling some encyclopedia salesman somewhere, because this stuff just comes out. We got 86 people left. You guys, I think, want to go to bed. Steve Studley says good night. I think I'm going to say good night. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all so much for coming. I'm going to get my traveling music kicking in here. There we go. And had a great time. I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Sorry if I missed some of your chats. I appreciate you in here. I think I covered everything and more that I wanted to talk about tonight. Y'all take care of yourself. I will see you Thursday night in the private members live stream, and I'll see you Saturday at 3 o'clock if you want to come. And of course, I don't even have any idea what it's going to be yet, but we'll have a video of something tomorrow, maybe a recipe thing or cooking thing or something. So with that, I'm going to say good night, give you the rest of the day off, and tell you, of course, to eat meat.